Georgia is a town rich in culture and traditions. The University of North Georgia, located in Dahlonega, cares about representation and education. Professor B.J. Robinson is the head editor-in-chief of the UNG Press, which is stationed in the town. Join us as we learn more about her and the UNG Press.
My bachelor's at Wesleyan University in Connecticut. Went on to my master's and PhD from the University of Virginia. Came here to teach English. It was late Victorian literature with fine press movement. So it was related, and I did a lot of journal work, but it was essentially literature because at that time UVA only had creative writing and literature. And I went that way and came here, was hired to teach in the English department. Too many students came to me saying, one actually called me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I don't know how they got my number, and said, I don't know, day before they graduated, I don't know what to do with my degree. And I'm not making that up. And that struck me as very odd because publishing. So essentially got a postgraduate degree from the Denver Publishing Institute. Had researched various programs. The two that were considered the most reputable and in terms of placing people in jobs were Columbia and Denver Publishing Institute, which had more one-on-one, and Columbia, being New York, kind of rushed people through. So I went there, got the degree, graduated, I guess that's the way to put it, and carried the degree at that point. And then that's about all. I think everybody in English, one way or another, is interested in writing to some extent. And I was always interested in writing and thought, oh, well, get a job where you have to write. I was publishing before I even went to university, to any college, any place. And I literally would call up editorial departments and ask, now who handles these books and who does what? So I was always interested in publishing, and I knew that wants to publish, but you really cannot without learning about the business. And that was always an interest to me, and have always known people in the field. But in terms of really teaching in the classroom, preparing people for jobs, that's when I thought I needed to go back, needed to go get formal credentials. The whole idea of a press was to give people who wanted to learn the business, they could actually, hands-on learn the business, going from the idea to the finished product. And I got a grant, and so I put out a call for people in the faculty interested, if anyone wanted to participate as we developed this essentially lab, how you work on final product lab. And that was done through and that idea came from other universities that had been developing, not degrees, but at least classes in publishing. And all of the faculty definitely wanted to participate, but they wanted a university press. University presses are nonprofits, for one thing. They are extensions of the university, so their mission must be tied to education. Commercial presses are driven by money. They may have passion projects, editors will have passion projects perhaps, but they really have to meet the bottom line. That's why most of the marketing that you'll ever see about a book will come from commercial. So we do a lot, and I think we do a lot because each of us is willing to do pretty much whatever needs to be done when it needs to be done. Each of us has specializations. Like Corey Parson, our managing editor, she will do the production layout, she will do the copyright review, she will do definitely the proofing, which is the final editing stage. She'll even help with the editing to some extent, though that's not her area. Ariana Adams who is our assistant managing editor, she will do editing, copy editing mainly, but a lot of that, and marketing, which is huge. Then it's the line editing to some extent, because generally the two often go together, and I will line edit as a global edit. Advise. I'm right now grading a class, so I also teach, and now that the University Press has moved into academic affairs as opposed to where it was before, I've actually been advised not to teach anymore because that's not what press directors do. The students, it's always going to be the students. I love the students so much, professionally. We ask them to do the work we're doing and help us with that. So the marketing, if you go to the UNG Press Facebook and see anything that's there, our interns this year have done it. They're helping with the newsletter as well. They are helping with editing. They are actually helping with grant work. We are developing audiobooks, and they're helping with developing the scripts and working with AI on that too, which is really interesting. And that, I guess, that broad range of work makes them professionally prepared for any job in publishing. Because the one thing about publishing is you could start in any job. That students can start out, interns are skilled to do anything they want, means they can take whatever job's open, and they will be skilled for it. And we've had many presses ask us, can you send us your interns? Because they're the most prepared people we've ever had working with us. Like, commercial presses don't surprise me, but when university presses come in and say, can you send us somebody? And that's because the quality of the student work. We did Cherokee history from the Spirit family, and it was written by Jim Barnes, who is from a Cherokee, and based on his whole family history, which included the Trail of Cheers. And it was the most profoundly well researched. It wasn't memoirs alone, really immersed in all the documentations involved with the history, and it was painful in terms of how many things were taken away and how many essentially lies they were told, and yet so inspiring, the resiliency, always returning, always recovering. And we published that book just this year, and it is in the bookstore, amongst other places, in the bookstore of the Smithsonian Museum of American Indians.
Thank you, Professor Robinson, for taking the time to teach us about the UNG Press. We hope to see you around Dahlonega.